Hey everybody, let's learn how to throw on the wheel. It might seem complicated, and there is a bit of a learning curve, but I'm going to try and break it down for you to make it nice and simple. I'll show you the tools you need, how to make your basic bowl shape, and how to make it nice and smooth. Then we'll finish up with how to break down and clean your wheel. Let's grab our tools. First, you're going to need a bucket for water. You only need a few inches of water, but it should be enough to dip your whole hand in. Next, we need a plastic wheel bat we never throw on the steel, a wooden potter's rib, a round yellow sponge, and one small sham. Make sure the bat is dry. You can hit it with some paper towels if you need to. Okay, let's get set up to throw. Leave the rib and the sham next to the wheel and toss the sponge in the bucket. Next, we have to connect the plastic wheel bat to the steel wheel head. Remember, we never throw directly on the steel. On the underside, you'll find two sets of notches. We use the wide set ones. You'll notice the edge has 3 raised dots. Those are very helpful when trying to line up these holes with the bolts on the wheel head. Line up the 3 dots with the bolt and press it down on one side. Once you have one side connected, it's a lot easier to find the other side. Pivot back and forth until you can find the bolt on the opposite side and press it down. If you did it right, you should get no wiggle. And double check to make sure that bat's nice and dry. Now let's grab a piece of clay. Get about a handful and wedge it up so it has a nice even consistency. I'm only using one hand since I'm holding my phone, but you can of course use both hands. Next, let's pack that piece of clay into a nice oval shape. Now let's take that oval and aim right for the center of the bat. I like to lay my hand down so I can see exactly where I'm aiming. And we're not throwing it from up high. Don't bring your hand over your head and pretend like you're chucking it down. This isn't Space Odyssey 2001. That's a little too crazy. You're just gonna pull back, give a little bit of momentum, and slam that thing right down in between your thumb and your fingers. Once the clay is stuck on that wheel, let's push it down to make sure it's really secure. This is also a good opportunity to press out any large lumps and make a more rounded form. That will make your throwing job a lot easier. Give the wheel a quick spin to see if anything stands out as lumpy or off center. Remember, the smoother and rounder we start off, the easier it'll be to get centered and stay centered when we start throwing. Now that your clay is ready, let's get you ready to throw. Scoot that stool in as close as you can possibly get to the wheel. You want to feel the splash pan on the insides of your knees. Next, let's tuck in those elbows. Jam those elbows into the space between your belly and your hips. Then, you'll lean over, locking your elbows in place. An extra little tip, we're always going to work with our hands connected to each other. On their own, each hand can be a little wobbly, but when working together, they tend to be stronger and more stable. Okie doke, let's finally switch this wheel on, shall we? Now, we don't want to go top speed. That's way too fast. But we also don't want to go super slow. I recommend turning it to top speed, then backing it off just a little bit. Then, remove your foot from the pedal. It stays locked in place, so you don't have to lean on it the whole time. Now you're all set to start throwing. Jump to my next video to learn centering, coning, and doming to get one step closer to your first wheel-thrown piece of pottery. Thanks for tuning in. Remember to like, subscribe, and follow for more videos like this. Me, I'm just an art teacher. Go make some pottery. See ya. Have a day.